Participants joining by phone should mute their phones when not speaking to avoid background noise. During the meeting, please make sure that you announce yourself by name and title every time you speak so the public that is observing knows who is speaking. When speaking, be sure and speak directly into a microphone so that all comments are heard and the record of the meeting is accurate. This is critical given the number of remote participants and its current guidance from the Kansas Attorney General. The public is allowed to participate by Zoom or submit comments by email prior to the meeting, and those comments will be included in the record of this meeting. The public may also indicate their intent to provide remote public comment by contacting the clerk's office by noon the day of the meeting. The public also will have an opportunity to provide brief comments either via telephone or Zoom from the fifth floor conference room of the municipal office building. Public comment will be allowed during each agenda item. Comments should be limited to the item at hand and per the commission rules of procedure should not include any rude or derogatory remarks, reflections as to integrity, abusive comments, and statements as to motives and personalities. I will now call the meeting of the Public Works and Safety Standing Committee for Monday, November 18th, 2024 to order, and I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Roll call. Lopez.
Here.
Burns.
Here.
Stites. Kane.
Kane here.
Burrows.
Here. Thank you, Commissioner Kane. Clerk, are there any revisions to the agenda this evening?
There are no revisions.
Thank you. Committee, we have 3 items before us this evening, and they're all resolutions. The first resolution, before we get to it, though, we have the approval of the minutes, and it is from the August 28th, 2023, October 23rd, 2023, and November 27th of 2023. If you've had a chance to review the minutes, I would entertain a motion of approval. So move. We have a motion and a second for the approval of the meeting minutes of October 28th, 2023, October 23rd, 2023, and November 27th, 2023. Questions, comments? Seeing none, clerk, please call roll.
Roll call. Lopez.
Aye.
Burns.
Aye.
Stites. Kane.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, committee. That does take us to our first resolution. The first item on our agenda this evening is the adoption of a resolution to apply for and accept the Victim Services Fiscal Year 2025 Violence Against Women's Act. And it's a grant. A 25% match is required, which has already been allocated from existing budgets. At this time, I will recognize Wendy Medina from our police department to make the presentation. Welcome, Wendy.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Wendy Medina. I'm the program supervisor for victim services at the police department. And I'm here to request approval to apply for the VAWA Violence Against Women Act grant. In early 2021, the Kansas Governor's Advisory Council on Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Response and the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department with our partners at Friends of Yates, the local domestic we came together to enhance response to domestic violence cases in KCK via a grant that was received by the Kansas Governor's Grants Office. The purpose was to develop a lethality assessment program in response to domestic violence. So through that, we built a model community in Kansas using best practices and ensuring victim safety and offender accountability to create efforts to reduce domestic violence-related homicides through strengthened and revitalized coordinated community and multidisciplinary teams. So this project would go on to inform future frameworks in the state of Kansas and other jurisdictions. And via this pilot, we created the lethality assessment that we currently have now. So once that pilot was finalized, we transitioned into the first VAWA grant that Victim Services received, awarded in fiscal year 2024. We received amazing support and we're able to do great work. And now we're asking to go into our second VAWA application, which is what brings us here today. So we can continue funding the lethality assessment program. Lethality assessments aim to assess the risk for lethality so robust intervention can take place. Provides the officers with a tool to help them understand the context of domestic violence as a pattern of series of abusive events instead of just an isolated call for service. In 2024, with the VAWA funding, we created the Coordinated Community Response Team, which leadership from stakeholder agencies in KCK and Wyandotte County and the criminal justice system, the local domestic violence program, community-based and culturally specific area partners come together to address domestic violence response on a unified level, providing policy, practice, review, and changes. We will be meeting quarterly as a group and as one-on-one as needed. Captain Yarslick is the one that's serving as the co-chair of that coordinated community response, along with the executive director of Friends of Yates Shelter. In addition, in 2024, with these VAWA funds, we created the high-risk team that is comprised of representatives from agencies in the area that have a role working directly with victims and offenders. That high-risk team gets together to review specific cases that are forwarded from the lethality assessments to intervene, collaborate, share information, and mobilize pretty quickly from their areas of expertise. They are meeting constantly to improve outcome for victims. So far, 68 cases have been staffed by the high-risk team. Through October, officers have conducted 646 lethality assessments. 457 of those victims screened high or elevated risk and were referred immediately to the domestic violence agency. 29 of those victims went into emergency shelter at Friends of Yates. The program coordinator was able to provide more in-depth services to 423 of those victims. Every single morning, she pulls the DV reports from the day before and makes contact with each of them. The program coordinator meets with her program coordinator counterpart at Friends of Yates to ensure we are offering services to victims and communicating about their needs. And she has also provided 45 hours of lethality assessment training, including trauma-informed policing and learning to identify predominant aggressor to our police officers and also to the deputies at the sheriff's office. We have made great strides in enhancing services to domestic violence victims with our lethality assessment project and the dedicated people that came to the table for it. So again, I'm requesting approval to submit an application to the KGGP for the next fiscal year for that Stop VAWA grant to fund the period of January through December of 2025. I'm asking them for $109,775. That federal portion does require a 25% match. However, like you mentioned, it's already been allocated because there's a portion that we can report out of two captains' salaries that's in cash match due to the time that they dedicate to the project and training and an implementation of that high-risk team. It more than satisfies the match requirement. So I'm not asking for any additional funding from the UG than what already exists. The VAWA dollars will continue to cover the salary and fringe benefits of the lethality assessment coordinator. Without VAWA funding, unless the UG is willing to absorb the cost, this valuable position will cease to exist. The program coordinator oversees all referrals of high-risk cases identified in the lethality assessment that the officers are completing in the field that are high risk. They guide the coordination, management, and utilization of the lethality assessments in the field each time there's a domestic violence call. She also provides data control and tracking in accordance with grant requirements. And most importantly, she provides support to the responding officers and the direct victim services to those scoring higher elevated. She does assistance with orders of protection, crime victims compensation, safety planning, emergency shelter. The VAWA dollars are also going to cover office supplies, training, emergency hotel and transportation for safety for victims, as well as other intervention supplies such as meals, clothing, diapers, a replacement cell phone. This program has been historical for our community. I'm very proud to be in this role as our county implements these innovative strategies to address intimate partner violence and put an end to domestic violence related homicides.
Thank you, Ms. Medina. Is there any questions from the committee? Any comments? Commissioner Kane, please feel free to speak up. I don't see a hand, but please feel free to speak up if you have any questions or comments. I'll ask ask the clerk if there were any comments received from the public.
No comments were received.
I'll ask clerk if anybody online from the public wishes to make a comment.
There are no hands raised.
Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment? Let the record show nobody step forward. Before I take the motion for the resolution, Commissioner Lopez.
Yeah, real quick, you're saying, oh, shit, I'm sorry. $109,775. And are you saying 25% match from that or 15% match from that?
The match requirement is 25%. So approximately 50% from one captain and 13% from the other captain. If you put those two together, they make up the requirement.
Okay, so the,
50% amount there. It's like in the decimals, so.
right, no, it's $27,443 $75 is that 25%, and then the 15% would be this 16,000 so you add those together. Okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah, the
gotcha.
total project is 146,367.
That number's not on here. What, how
I
much?
don't think that number is on that document.
You said 146,000?
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
146,489 with, I'm sorry, 146,367 with 11 cents.
Yeah, 146,368 is what's in the book. 109,776 from the grant plus the 25% match that is required. And that is, the match is 37,277. 39,332 takes it up to a total of 142.
Well,
140.
was, so, well, not really a question, I don't know, but this is basically gonna be for like a victim's advocate in a role in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. It
So-
covers the salary and fringe benefits of the advocate,
So that's
or
like,
program coordinator.
is that, so it's around 37 to 39,000 is a salary?
Her salary would be 62,408.
Okay, there, that makes more sense.
Then in fringe benefits,
108?
6,160. And I used fringe benefit calculations like,
Okay, yeah, no, that makes more sense, because I was like, man, she's not getting very much money. That's perfect. Sounds great.
yeah, she's wonderful. She's been with our department since we initiated the program. Love to keep her on.
Yeah, I just want to make sure she was making, that's perfect. That's way better than I was thought. Okay, thank you.
Stites, motion to approve.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please call roll.
Roll call. Lopez,
aye.
Burns,
Aye.
Stites, Kane. You have to unmute. Kane,
Aye.
Burrows,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you, committee. That takes us to resolution item number 2, which is on our agenda, the adoption of a resolution approving the proposed Region L 2024 hazard mitigation plan. I do not see Mr. May in attendance, but he is online. And so, Mr. May, if you don't mind, I don't see a hand. So if you have something you want to say upon a question, please feel free to respond. Mr. May, it's all.
Thank you, sir.
You're up, Mr. May.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. I appreciate you tolerating me coming in by remote. I don't like doing this, but I am elsewhere. I wanted to go over 2 documents tonight. The first one is this hazard mitigation plan. This is something we do every 5 years, and this is our normally scheduled 5 years to do it. It is basically gives a lot of demographic information, documentation, and then analyzes that information to try and accumulate that to a threat and risk, and telling us what things we have that are possible problems for the community. And then that gives us something to work from in documents put together by the state of Kansas. We provided a lot of statistical data for it, but they did the work and put it together. It's just they're it's just but we use it as the base for a lot of other things that we work on.
Do you want to go give an overview of the resolution? If not, we're just going to go ahead and move right on in. Any questions from the committee? Commissioner Lopez.
What kind of money is this grant or out of the budget or where?
This doesn't. I'm sorry, Commissioner Lopez. There's no money attached to this directly. There's no cost to us from the state to do this work. They take it out of our EMPG grant dollars that they retain. So it's basically done for free relative to us. It does, however, have a list of projects in it. So if we don't adopt it, those projects wouldn't be eligible for hazard mitigation funds among other programs.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you, Mr. May. It's imperative that we do that. And as you said, this was the 5-year time frame. So I will look at the second resolution. You want to go ahead and go on into the third resolution, and we'll come back and we'll vote separately on both of these? While we
Yes,
have you
please.
online?
I do need two
Okay.
separate votes on this. So,
Okay, let me do this then. We're going to vote on them separately. We'll just go ahead and take this one and move right on through. I'll ask the clerk if anyone online wishes to make a comment.
No comments were received and there's no hands raised.
Thank you. I'll ask the clerk if there were any comments received from the public at all.
No comments were received.
Thank you. Is there anyone appearing in person who would care to comment on this matter? Let the record show no one step forward. Thank you. Any other questions or comments, committee? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion for the adoption of the resolution approving the proposed Region L 2024 Hazard Mitigation Plan.
I move we adopt the resolution.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please call roll.
Roll call Lopez,
Aye.
Burns.
Aye.
Stites. Kane,
Aye.
Burrows,
Aye.
motion carries.
Thank you, committee. That takes us to resolution number 3, the County Emergency Operations Plan. Matt?
here we go. This one is our county emergency operation plan. It normally is also on a 5-year plan and typically would have come after in the year following the adoption of this one. However, the federal government has asked us to do a rewrite. If you're not familiar with the document, it's broken up by a base plan, and then it's broken then by emergency support functions. That's how we organize ourselves in the EOC, and it's also how we're organized all the way across the country. Makes it very simple to interoperate with the other folks. So what they did was they called for because we have already adopted, and a lot of other folks now, a standalone recovery plan. ESF 14 has been the recovery plan section. So now they have reassigned it. And if I can, I would like to ask Erica Hupka, who's been contracted to work on this for us, she rewrote that portion of the plan, and I'd like to have her available if there's any questions about that. But it changed the focus from recovery and assessment to working more with our general public and business industry and those kinds of things, hence the title.
Thank you. Erica, you have anything you'd like to add?
I'm just here to answer any questions that you
Okay.
pivoted this to be more private, public-private coordinated.
Yeah. Well, it does state here about the public health department's commitment, involvement, as well as private businesses. And so if that's a federal guideline update, then by all means, we should comply.
Correct. It doesn't have any cost associated with doing the document other than the time and effort for us to rewrite it that Erica helped us with. But it does have a very big impact on our ability to claim and ask for EMPG funds, which typically run about $100,000 a year. So it's important. It's an important document for us to have as allowing us to explain to others how we're going to operate and how we move forward during an event, but also so that we make ourselves eligible for those funds. And with this resolution in your documentation. There should have been a list of other changes that we took the opportunity, since we were going to have to touch it anyway, to do some updates. But that's the biggest one, is the ESF 14 section.
Thank you, Matt. It comes to, with state of Kansas federal government, when it comes to catastrophes, what we need to assist us in partnerships, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So I do appreciate this coming forward. I think all of us in Wyandotte County should be pleased to know that you have taken the initiative to bring that before us. Any comments from the committee? A question, Commissioner Lopez?
So this EMP grant, does it give us any extra dollars to, if in the future, if we was to come across some software that might help us in the future? Or it's
Commissioner Lopez, typically I have utilized that to fund one of our positions in the emergency management office, and then used operating expenses if we need software and things like that.
okay.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? Commissioner Kane, any questions or comments? Okay. I'll ask the clerk if there are any comments received from the public.
No comments were received.
Ask clerk if anybody online wishes to make a comment.
No hands are raised.
Thank you. Is there anyone in attendance here this evening who would like to make comments regarding this matter? Let the record show no one stepped forward. Thank you, committee. I would now entertain a motion to approve the county emergency operations plan.
Move we adopt the plan and the resolution.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Roll call. Lopez.
Aye.
Burns.
Aye.
Stites. Kane.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. May. Thank you, committee. At this time, there's no other work before the committee. I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Roll call. Lopez.
Aye.
Burns.
Aye.
Stites. Kane.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.